They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark on everything that had led up to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and it was over.
Hi guys, this is FNGR, and I'm going to talk to you about something really important. This is Styx Hexenhammer 666.
Ruled on a trademark case involving the band The Slants. Now, the idea was before there was a rule the government wouldn't issue you a trademark if the trademark contained anything that could potentially be offensive, racially disparaging, and so forth. But the Supreme Court told them no, the government can't discriminate against people filing for trademarks that might be seen as offensive, because what it amounts to is the government's claiming it's exercising its free speech in granting trademarks through the government, but it's not actually a form of speech. The government doesn't have speech. So that was the problem. And it was a unanimous ruling. It wasn't a split decision, which is remarkable.
The original video is just over 6 minutes, so feel free to go check it out. When I was growing up, I'd hear all the time that freedom of speech to work had to cover even unpleasant things. I had that beaten into my head. It had to be for everyone. You had to have as little constraints as possible. This naturally resides in our First Amendment, which grants us freedom of the press and freedom of speech, which I'm going to pause here to state, and the citation will be down below in the description, publications of criticism of a public official is protected whether published by a for-profit media corporation or by a person who is not a member of the press, in the form of paid advertisement. The freedom to publish criticisms of public officials and candidates is not lost by virtue of either corporate status or non-members in the institutional news media. This is from the landmark case New York Times Company versus Sullivan back in 1964. The reason I bring this up is, first, on the right, if you feel the mainstream media doesn't qualify as a legit media because it has paid for advertisements, or it's owned by big companies, or conversely on the left you feel that alternative news sites don't count either, there is a legal ruling all the way back in 1964 that if you hold either of these opinions, they are simply your feelings and not legal fact. So yes, InfoWars, Fox News, CNN, all have the same legal freedoms of the press as the others. There is no legal secondary class status that one has over the other, at least in the United States of America. In Canada, there isn't freedom of speech. There has been a ruling that misgendering will get you thrown in jail. I, however, am in America, where I don't have to deal with any of that silly bullshit. In a week or two, I'm going to have on a friend of Randy Stair, the triple homicide suicide Brony. I have a difficult decision on how that interview is going to go down. On one hand, I don't feel that Randy Stair deserves respect for murdering what I could only assume were 3 innocent people, and I've yet to hear anything that remotely suggests otherwise. Now, I'm assuming the friend comes on and he'll ask me politely to address Randy as her, and ask Randy to be called Andrew Blaze. And I'm probably going to go with the flow, even though I'm talking a big game right now, with a lot of righteous moral indignation. When someone generally asks you, hey, don't be a prick, it's kind of hard to say no in my personal opinion when someone personally asks you, hey, don't be a prick. Now, if you wanted to checkmate my stance here, the next question here is, if you can be asked not to be a dick, why do it at all? I had this discussion with Not a Poker Chip Napsy, aka Asher, where I said respect is earned, and he countered, everyone has the right to respect, to which I countered with, people can certainly lose respect. And he relented on that note, and nodded. Recently, when we were talking about this before he blocked me, we were talking about Ricky Stair. And I said Ricky was a piece of shit, and used the wrong pronoun, and Asher piped in, she's a piece of shit. Asher is a human being utterly and totally ruled by his feelings. I said this before, because when something makes him flinch, he'll go against it, even if he understands what he's flinching at to be reasonable. We both agree that Ricky killed 3 people. We both agree that's terrible. I would imagine, if anything, that would make you lose respect. But by God, the proper respect, no matter how shitty of a human being they are, I don't agree with allowing respect to shitty people like that. Quite frankly, I'm not this guy. I'm also not this guy.
Free speech in America has at least one reliable friend, the Supreme Court of the United States, which is really nice to hear, isn't it? Let's be honest. A firm 8-0 decision, Jesus Christ, that's a landslide, in favour of free speech. The court slapped down the Patent and Trademark Office for denying a band a federal trademark for the registration for the name The Slants, a derogatory term for Asian. You know what we should do? Infringe your right to free speech. Why? Because someone has an opinion. Get fucked.
Maybe I'm heading that way, but we're not there yet. I think there's a not-so-subtle difference in the individual asking me to be cool and the government straight up telling me what I can and can't do.
Do not give this up, America. Do not let them take this. And thank God, 8-0. Fucking whitewash. Get wrecked.
There are dipshits out there who are trying to gauge the system to exploit it at every turn. I do feel there ought to be a middle ground where you can politely tell people you shouldn't have legally asked for this to begin with. I'm sure it's very tempting giving that kind of power to the government. Even if you had the right people in office today, there's no telling what you'll have in 4, 8, or 12 years from now. I'll be honest, when I saw this video, I did run up and send it to Asher and went, "In your face, fucker." And I'm sure I was a bit more brutal than just that. So here it is. My First Amendment right now. Jerry Pete, Randy Stair. Jerry Pete, Randy Stair. God save America. Now, this is just me being a juvenile fuck. You know, as if we just started here. There is no other thing to take away from this than me being a cunty little man. This is RNS entertainment. Kind of looks like Digibro with Down syndrome, doesn't it? Now, I'm going to show you something. This is RNS's girlfriend. Bam! The whole reason I'm doing this is that in the comments section, RNS micromanages and went through his comments to remove anything that he felt juvenile. So I'm going to put this up here. So you guys can say whatever the fuck you want. Again, this is just me being an ass. And this is also for the purposes of review, which is covered under fair use. I give her a conservative 7 or 8. What do you guys think? This is Vita. We're going to talk about Vita because Vita's easy, because I will lose nothing tactical in correcting Vita, and Vita will be the first to tell you, poking him will cost you nothing. He has an overwhelming frustration with the Brony fandom due to his version of the truth. Now I'm going to be completely honest with you. There are some things in 2 fandoms that are on the tip of my tongue, and they have been there for a long, long time. The 2 communities I'm referring to are the Brony Analysis fandom, and the other are the commentary community, the Neo or New. The moment I added the second half, I will bet you dollars to donuts, Vita will stop listening. And predictably, but these examples exist for a reason, despite some people feeling that you can't apply an algorithm to their behavior. Oh yes you can. Vita, meet Dillon Thomas. I would say he's your counterpart in the commentary community. Say hi, Dillon. He is beyond frustrated with the CC in the same way you're frustrated with the Brony fandom. On the outside looking in, he comes off like a giant prick. He, like you, at least in part, might be acting from a place of sour grapes, but there are legit concerns, complaints mixed in there. Serious legit concerns that no one will ever say out loud. He, unlike you, has some work ethic and tackled this topic in a couple of places, links down below, and done a few things, again, I can't talk about. I've already told Dillon why he's going to fail, because he's avoiding doing something he already knows he needs to do. He said he wants to establish diplomacy between the 2 sides in his community. I already said you need Boonslayer for that, and Boonslayer, using a pro wrestling vernacular, is a good mid-level guy who's connected to all the right people. Again, I hate to bring up this example again, this is Digibro. A while back, he had a meltdown in the anime analysis community, where his concerns were far less reasonable than, say, Dillon's or Vita's for their respective communities. Do you know why the people of his community, the big names, sat down and talked with him? This is Mother's Basement. I've known about him since he had 10,000 subs. Today he has 300k, and outperforming his peer Digi. But the point is, Digi had a friend equal to or bigger to help him have these sit-down talks with the people on the other side of the community. No matter how daffy his commands might have been, he got a 4-hour podcast after what could have only been described as a giant baby fit. Now, if you're Dillon or Vita, you're likely holding up your hand in class going, well, that's all well and fine, but what do we do here as mere mortals back here in Duckburg? Don't we get at least a little bit of credit for being less of a spoiled cunt? The short answer is no. The only other working example I can think of someone taking all the measures to fix their community that literally took 2 years working from the inside. Oh, right, that's me. I'm going to tell you how that worked. The Brony Analysis Committee had a room called the Riff Cafe, where the bulk of the community's talent was concentrated. Mind you, not everyone, but there was enough people to continue to grow that community around that room. There is no such room right now in the CC. On top of that, there were times when the Riff Cafe had numbers into the 90s or so. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of those people were dead weight. People who BS their way in and were never made to leave. The middle ground group that Dillon and Boone both argued about who did what and where, had what, 20, 30... I'm going to say 40 tops. The only representative from Bop was Mass Starmaker, who after being there for a significant amount of time, fucking left Bop and the CC. Dillon, that might seem like a moral victory, but let me hand you a brutal secret. Moral victories only work when you can't get real victories. They're the I can't believe it's not butter of victories. So I'm going to walk you through this. You need to hunt down commentators, artists, fans. You need to catch people on the ground floor when they're coming up. Not that long ago, Bop found people like Gwis. This is what I'm going to pause and address to Vita. I understand that you have the right idea. You have the room that you are solely building to have talent. That at its core, you have people who can do things, who are above average. The problem is, they don't do things right now. You have a mixed match of never-wases and has-beens, who already turned into pasta, aka past analysis. Fuck, about the same time as Event Horizon fucked off from Limbo, he stopped making shit. If you're waiting on Shelly D to do anything, he got unmotivated and stopped doing his ultra-fucking-lazy commentaries. Jesus, you might as well stop playing video games. You're the master of saying I got a bad feeling about this guy. Okay, so you tell me, one guy in your group that you got, Vita, who can live up to your expectations of, quite honestly, putting anything out. Now I'm going to pause to address the CC. Here are 2 current perceptions of the alt-CC. This is a well thought out video made by Dillon Thomas, where I'm going to play a clip where he thoughtfully explains his position.
Similar to the past feuds that the commentary community has had, I would say that partially you are right. It shares a lot of similarities, but there's something you didn't notice. When it came to the original feud, people were doxing each other, something the alt-CC never stooped to. They were trying to get each other arrested, something the alt-CC never stooped to. They were being really vicious. They were trying to push people off of the internet, something the alt-CC didn't do. You get what I'm saying here? You're comparing apples to oranges. There are similarities, but there's so many differences as well. The alt-CC just made memes. They just made joke videos. They just tried to poke fun at people, so then they would accept that humor is something that you can't kill off.
Now that's fair in an open-minded discussion. This is what the Neo-CC thinks that the All-CC thinks.
I am the alt-CC. I am visible in your subscriber box. But I am invisible to your community until it is too late. I know when you post. And guess what? I post there too. I hover around all of you. I know no color, barrier, no religion, no God. I speak your language fluently, and with every voice I take, it sustains me. I work very quickly. I work faster than Nihilistic Sneak, Mr. Flippy, and Mega Duke combined. I am that bastard, transgendered stepson of AIDS and cancer. If you're happily subbed to Doodle Tones, I will make sure that you are not. Your fetish porn will fall into my hands, and I will show it to the world for my own gain. I don't sleep, so I will make sure that you don't either. I will make it virtually impossible for your peers to stream or play video games, or even get laid without a struggle, or embarrassment, without pain. You have no cure for me. Your commentators don't have the resources to make me go away, and I relish in their despair. Your subscribers are happy to pretend I don't exist, of course until it's their channel under my boot. I am the alt-CC. I have no interest in right or wrong. Your loneliness fills me with pleasure, and I will fight to take away your hope. I will plot to take away your fans and your dreams. I will make sure every day you wake up, you will cry, wondering who will take care of the community after you're gone. And the truth is, I'm still winning, and you're scared, and you should be. I am the Alt CC. You ignored me. That was your mistake.
Let me give you a mirror image of why the commentary community is 100% inferior and illogical to the Brony analysis community. You all know Ryan Reno Mills. Conversely, this is Toon Critic Y2K. These gentlemen are cults of personality. When I corrected Ryan Reno Mills in the same vein that I corrected Toon Critic, the CC fucking shit itself. His friends either unfriended me or screamed at me. When I had a discussion about Toon Critic, a man that Ryan Reno Mills believes is a pussy, Toon dusted himself off, heard my complaints, assured me he'd work on those, and went back to work. Didn't miss a beat, didn't miss a day, didn't fuck off like runaway Ryan Mills for 3 months at a time, every time Ryan sees his shadow, and then just flitters away. And his friends that I talked to gave me a thumbs up, because the difference is Ryan built a community instead of addressing issues that buried them in cronyism. So I'm gonna pause here. Vita, if you have a fucking problem with what I'm doing, stop making me guess at it and fucking tell me. Let me give you another example. This is Lily Pete. Everyone in the Brony community knows Pete. And if Pete were in the commentary community, she would be in Bop. And no one would question anything retarded that she does because Bop is a bunch of drop-your-pants comedians that haven't made a logical point or defended one in years. Don't believe me? Let's look at one of Lily Pete's callouts. Foxwell. Out of all the people who've ever called out Lily, she focused on Foxwell. Let me give you Lily Pete's equivalent in the CC. This is Doodle Tones. Of all the people who called out Doodle, do you know who she focused on? Efrion Josephine and Mad Plushie. I look forward to seeing Silver showing up in my comments section. Silver from a bunch of pseudo-intellectuals, I have to narrow that down because there's like 20 of them in the Brony community, saying, FNGR, you're a terrible person. I am, Silver. You're a fat, dumpy hillbilly fuck, too. I heard about you talking about Ernie and trying to run him out of the CC because of his girlfriend, you fucking prick. Not even Ernie. His girlfriend said Doodle was fucking garbage. Silver, you're a fucking scumbag. I normally try to come up with equal comparisons for everyone in the CC in the Brony fandom, but there's no one as quite as ass-end fucking worthless as you are, Silver. I want you rocking back and forth in Bop right now, whimpering, pissing yourself right now, with my voice in your head, calling you a dumb fuck. You're a fucking piece of shit. Even after meeting people like Flippy and Mad Plushie, and YouTube Dude, you're the bottom of the fucking barrel, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're a garbage human being who does garbage things. Get fucked. Dear YouTube Dude.
Finally, I was mentioned in an Alt CC video.
If this were the Brony fandom, you'd be Anime Wolfgamer, and no one would care what you have to say. You have a queer nasally voice.
Big ass glasses, my blue eyes, and he dove onto his rare Yu-Gi-Oh card and sacrificed himself and was absolutely covered in cement. My blue eyes.
He has a queer nasally voice. Anime Wolfgamer is a fucking parrot. You're a fucking parrot. Anime Wolfgamer grovels before people who can't fucking stand him. You grovel before people who can't fucking stand you. Aside to a logical reaper.
The Alt's dead. The Alt's always been dead.
No, they're just asleep.
No, they're dead.
They came back with a new video, they're not dead.
They're dead. I don't care if they're making a new video every hour, they are dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Whatever.
Like, literally no one will give a shit about them unless they're doing something extreme. And by that point...
They're either dead, they're asleep, they're walking dead.
It's funny because universally, down the line from Dillon to myself to Boonslayer, everyone I've ever talked to about you thought you were shit. Not just untalented, you're a loudmouth fucking spurg like Redcord. I don't understand where you got it in your head that you start to talk to people about the CC as if you knew anything. You make Foxwell look like fucking Socrates as a strategic mind. You are an empty-headed, Humpty Dumpty, inbred, screeching tool that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And what's more, the girls of Limbo, the cinnamon rolls, threw you out. Not the fakers like Doodle, real, legit, born with a vagina girls that wanted nothing to do with you because you ooze cringe. It sustains you. It builds you. It feeds need you! You irrelevant little shit, go the fuck away! Do your best Randy Stair impersonation minus hurting anyone else, you cringy couch cushion. In short, to Dillon, if you're ever looking to help the CC, you need to surround yourself with worthy content creators, not a bunch of whiny fucks. But you already made that mistake with the alt. You can't make a content room and fill it with the cool kids and say, new community. Vita, I would tell you the same thing, but I think you already know. Thank you, fuck you, bye.